Hello, everybody, and I am Joe Matrix. Welcome to the Cookn Matrix podcast. This is the other host,
I'm Sam from Cookn Reviews. Hello, everyone.
and we're here today to review Danny Phantom,
A Nickelodeon show from the early 2000s.
one of our childhood favorites.
Mine, too. It was definitely a show I remember coming home from school and being like, oh crap, Danny Phantom's on? I need to go watch it right now.
I loved him as a child. I wrote a postcard to Santa saying, hey, can I get something that involves Danny Phantom? I love that show. Yeah, I really did. I actually have it laying around somewhere here.
There's a fun fact.
All
But if you
right.
don't know what Danny Phantom is about, it is a show about a 14-year-old boy who gains ghost powers and becomes a sort of teenage superhero.
Yeah, he goes around, he fights a bunch of ghosts. They come out of the ghost zone. Parents cause a bit of that problem. But he finds ways to keep ghosts out of his world, essentially, where they don't belong.
There's a lot of similarities to Spider-Man in this show, sort of, because, Danny, not only does he have to fight the ghost and be a superhero, but he has to struggle with the
Balancing.
struggles of being a 14-year-old boy and going to school.
Sort of has to balance the life of being a superhero and the life of being a regular kid.
Yeah, again, very Spider-Man in that way.
And it's odd how they didn't show us how he got his powers right off. They showed a month later after he got his powers.
Yeah, I think it's in season 2 where they actually show off how he got his powers originally. Like, they actually show the moment where he got his powers.
I didn't understand quite why they backtracked that, but that's for another section of the podcast.
Absolutely. And overall, I will say as a kid, this probably would have been in my top 5 shows. I don't know about you, Peyton, but as a kid, I was like, Danny Phantom is one of my favorites.
Considering I wrote a postcard to Santa, I would probably say the same thing.
Yeah, that's probably true. Pros and cons of the show? Peyton, what was one pro that you had with the show?
My pro is that the show goes really in depth with the characters in all the scenes. Each of them have their own separate story, and the ghosts, they even have a lore story of how they died, which I thought was quite interesting.
So you say, like, the show overall has a really good cast of characters?
Yes, every character has their own importance, even if it is episode to episode.
That's true. I definitely agree with that one. We'll go into more of, like, the individual characters later on, but I feel like as a whole, like, if we're taking the whole cast together, I think that it truly does have a really standout cast for cartoon standards. And I won't go into this too much, but I think it's also helped by some very strong vocal performances.
Indeed, a lot of strong voice actor names.
Yes.
Con of mine, though, would have to be the finale. I usually, whenever I watch a show, I always say that the finale usually makes or breaks the show, unless it's a comedy, of course. And the finale, it was quite lackluster. It wasn't that good.
Yes.
It really didn't do the show justice.
We'll go more in depth on the finale later, but I 100% agree with Peyton on the finale being maybe a con in of itself in the show.
Indeed. Sam, what is your pros and cons on the show?
My pro is that I actually just thought about this while you were saying your pro, but the ghost world of the show, I feel like the show does a really good job of setting up its own rules for paranormal, like ghostness on the show.
Sort of a unique way of doing Ghost.
Not every ghost is just like a very... I'm sorry, what were you saying? You sort of skipped out a bit there, my dude.
I was saying that ghosts, they're sort of unique in their own way. They're different from other ghosts. You know how Ghostbusters is? It's sort of that concept, but different.
Yeah.
It's a unique way of presenting it.
Yeah, but there isn't a single ghost in Danny Phantom that's similar to each other, you know what I mean? You've got rock and roll ghosts. You got pirate ghosts. You got ghost hunters. You've got like ghost vampires and Vlad in a weird way, since he sort of looks like a vampire. You've got a ghost king. You've got evil copies of each other. It's really, really cool. And I feel like the ghost zone, which is the place where the ghosts live, is a really, really cool idea for like a parallel world, in my opinion.
Maybe that
Do
could
you
be
feel the
something.
same?
Say what?
I said, do you feel the same?
I do feel the same. What is your con on it though?
My con on the show, well, put it simply, are the fight scenes. The fight scenes in the show I find to be really lackluster.
They're kind of slow, aren't they?
Yeah. In fact, here's a quick summary of every single fight in Danny Phantom. They punch each other, they send one flying back, they stop and talk to each other, then they come back and punch each other again, the other person goes flying, and then they need to go away for some reason, and Danny transforms back into a human. Then they fight again later, and Danny is somehow just infinitely better than them in every way.
You know that, or he has the help of one of his friends.
Or parents.
Yeah, one or the other.
Yeah, but I think that is literally almost every single fight in the show summarized into one sentence.
Do you think we both have a pro and a con for each other? One that we both can agree on?
Absolutely. I think one that we can absolutely agree on, for a pro at least, is the theme song.
Great theme song.
One of the best ever.
Yeah, it was a very good. It's still catchy today.
Yeah, which is surprising because I'm not a fan of rap at all.
Yeah, and usually some theme songs that you hear, at least in my opinion today, from Nickelodeon, they're
exactly.
just my opinion.
Yes, I think it's also clever that the show introduces anyone that's not seen the show, and it like brings them up to speed. Like the theme song tells you how Danny got his powers. It's a great introduction to the show itself.
You know, going back to how it didn't show how Danny got his powers, the theme song actually does kind of show how he got his powers in a little way.
Yeah.
Just not a deep sense of it.
Yeah, and I think that's useful, again, for someone who's like, I haven't seen this show, how am I going to know what's going on? I would just tell them, watch the theme song. It's literally tells you everything you need to know.
Catches you right up to speed.
Pretty much.
I think one thing that we both can disagree on, I mean, no, not disagree on, but
Agree
it's
on a con?
A con of the show, agree on as a con, is that, well, can we both agree that season 3 was not that well executed? It wasn't good.
Absolutely. I think, again,
it was shorter than the other seasons as well, wasn't it?
Yeah. Don't quote me on this, but I believe the first 2 seasons are like 24 episodes apiece. But then season 3 got shortened by to 13 episodes.
Which I don't understand why.
If I'm being honest, and this is just speculation on my part, I think it's completely budgetary reasons.
That sounds right.
I think Nickelodeon probably cut the budget like in half or something.
Come to think of it, the animation looked different, didn't it?
Maybe slightly. I don't think it's as good.
It could just be my mind playing tricks on me, but I thought the animation looked different that season.
I don't think it's playing tricks on you at all. I think I've heard other people say that the animation is lackluster.
It's sad because even shows that have potential, even shows that are pretty good, whenever they don't receive the budget that they deserve, then they just get cut. It's kind of sad.
Yeah, it's sad to say, but a show lives or dies by the amount of budget that it has.
Even if it's a good idea.
We'll tackle the show itself later on in the video a bit more. For now, let's move on to individual characters. Starting, of course, with
Danny. Main character of the show. MC protagonist fella. Danny is a character who you figure out a month after he got his powers is when the show starts off, as we've said before. And Danny, he fights ghosts because there's a ghost zone. That's pretty much the plot of the entire show for Danny.
Yeah. Danny is a character that they really want you to know that he's 14 years old, and I think that's both a good and a bad thing. It's a bad thing just because Danny can get on your nerves at points. You're just like, oh my gosh, is this the kid I'm supposed to be following? But then at other points, it's like he develops as the show goes along. There's an episode I watched where Danny uses his powers sort of irresponsibly, but then he learns later on, that's not how I should use my powers. I need to use them more responsibly. Again, coming from Spider-Man, with great power comes great responsibility.
Yeah, it sort of passes along the message that you're supposed to be good to others, and that you should sort of lessons that they try to teach kids, I suppose.
Yeah.
You're supposed to be good to others. You're not supposed to be a bully. You know, that kind of thing. And that sort of plays in role with his powers.
Yeah, and again, the theme song says it. He's a 14-year-old kid, so it plays directly into the plot. You know what I mean?
I get that.
Yeah. So overall, I would say Danny is a really good character, and I'm just going to go ahead and say it. Danny is my favorite character on the show.
Really?
Yes.
I would almost say Tucker is my favorite character.
Yeah. Moving on to... Actually, let's just go ahead and talk about Tucker then.
Yeah, Tucker, he's the nerd.
The techie.
Yeah, he wears a toboggan and he goes around and he says, hey, look at my PDA.
That PDA survives the whole dang show.
No, it doesn't. It blows up 50 times.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Again, I don't remember everything.
Yeah, it blows up a lot, but it's one thing you can remember about Tucker. He has a PDA and he's the tech guy.
Tucker is also, I think, well, aside from being the tech guy, he's also, I would say, the comic relief of the show in a lot of ways.
Yeah, he does deliver a lot of good comic lines.
Yeah. Again, there are a lot of characters on the show that have, like, comedic moments, but I feel like Tucker not only has the most comedic moments, but he has the best comedic one-liners.
Yeah, and there is times where he actually gets ghost powers. More than once, actually.
I remember the one time where he was given one by a witch. Or like the genie lady.
So you have wished it, so it shall be.
Yeah, her. Is the other time when he became like a pharaoh?
Yeah, I don't remember exactly what happened in that one, though.
Neither do I, but Tucker, he's just a good character overall. I don't know what else I could say about him.
Yeah, a lot of the characters in the show, they have depth to them, but their plot points, they're overall kind of basic in a way.
Yeah. I guess I'll just end this off by saying one of my favorite Tucker moments. There's an episode where Danny has to go into a hospital to save his friends.
Mm-hmm.
And so Tucker's like, I need to use my body spray to save everyone because it turns out it repels ghosts.
Wasn't that the one where he had really bad BO or something?
Yes, everyone thought he had bad BO because his body spray smelled horrible. It's a really good episode, probably one of my favorites, and Tucker being a good comic relief in that episode just only helps. But moving on from Tucker, we have Sam.
Sam is the love interest, and she's the other person who follows Danny around.
Yep,
I say person.
she's the goth chick.
Yeah, that's really her character.
Yeah.
You have the
but it's a
nerd,
good
you have the
character.
goth chick, you have the MC. That's...
Mm-hmm. She's the love interest, and the show almost makes it really obvious to a point that they're going to get together.
Yeah, even some episodes are entirely dedicated to it.
Yeah, like they say all the time, like, I'm not his boyfriend, I'm not her girlfriend. And any time in a kid's show the characters say that, it's like, yeah,
It's
they're getting
gonna
together.
happen.
You
Yeah.
can't escape.
Or if you see the blushes,
Mm-hmm.
then yeah, it's done. It's sealed the deal. War's over.
Yeah.
But anywho,
She's
they
a
don't
good-
really paint her as a damsel in distress, I will say.
Actually, yeah, that's a good thing. I forgot about that point, but that's a really good part about Sam's character is that she's not a damsel in distress. Most of the time, she's an active part of the plot.
Or I'm just gonna say this to get this out of the way. She tries to kill Danny. A lot of people try to kill Danny who are his friends. She
Yeah,
does
that-
try to kill him once or twice.
Yes. that's a point that it's kind of sad to show, but all of Danny's friends eventually try to kill him
At least
at one point
once.
or another.
Yeah, I just had to get that out of the way.
Yes, it's an interesting point to get out of the way, but this is the only problem I have with the characters, talking about Sam, is that she's a good character, but I don't have a whole lot to say about her just because her traits are so obvious, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The characters, there's not much else to them. I mean, they have their one thing that they do, and they make it so obvious, but they don't really say anything else about their character. I mean, they have depth to their character, but they don't. There's a goth chick, there's a nerd chick. Vlad's the villain,
Yeah.
main villain, and they make it just so obvious that there's not really much else to it.
Yeah. Again, good character, though.
Yes.
Moving
Well,
on from Sam,
Since
we
I
have...
mentioned him, Vlad,
Yes, Vlad, the main villain of the show.
Yes, he's the only other person, well, other than an episode where Danny goes back in time to save his father and ends up changing the future and the past, but that's a different... He's the only other person who can change from human to ghost. He used it to make a fortune.
Pretty much. Vlad, I would say, is probably one of my favorite cartoon villains, just because he has a really good foil or really good chemistry with Danny. And half of that comes with Vlad wanting to get with Danny's mom, which is really weird, but it's kind of hilarious.
That actually goes over your head when you watch that as a kid, I feel.
Yeah, as a kid, you're just like, this is kind of funny. And as an adult, you're just like, this is kind of weird.
This is kind of serious. This is a kid show?
Yeah. Vlad also has some actually pretty good plots. You know what I mean? He has some good plans.
I mean, Vlad, he may be the villain, but he has more... Actually, I think he has the more depth than Danny, honestly. I mean,
Really? I kind of want to hear this.
He has this pent-up aggression against Danny's father, but yet he loves his mom. And Danny, he's having to fight against him. And he's rich, he made all his money off the ghost, and yet he can do so many things, but he chooses to either recruit Danny or go after him, or go after his mom. Of all the things that he could do. Man's a true simp, let me tell you.
That's one way to put it. One thing I will say about Vlad is that sometimes his plans actually work. You know what I mean? Most of the time in children's show, the villain's plans never work. But Vlad, most of his plans actually succeed.
Which is... I guess that scares you as a kid, sort of builds it up.
Yeah.
Makes you realize, hey, the heroes can be defeated.
Yeah.
That's not good.
I know we've already mentioned Season 3 as a con of the show, but I will say it features one of my favorite plots that Vlad comes up with where he actually wins. He comes up with a scheme to sabotage the mayoral elections of Amity Park so he can become the mayor. And he literally gets ghosts to take over people so they'll check Vlad in the ballot box. Which
you wonder how that works out?
Yeah, it works out. He becomes the mayor.
Well, I mean, he did make a lot of wealth
Mm-hmm.
off of just being a ghost, so he's probably done this sort of thing before. So
And the other funny part,
Eh?
I was going to say the other funny part is that considering the events going on in our world today, it's kind of hilarious that the show, one of the plots of the show is Vlad sabotaging the voting of an election. That's all I'm going to say.
Very strange. Very strange. Perhaps we can put this in perspective to our real world situation.
Yep. Moving on from politics.
Yes! We have...
Valerie.
Yes! Valerie!
Hey,
The anti-hero!
Isn't she your favorite character in the show?
I don't remember. It was Tucker.
I almost thought I remember you saying Valerie was your favorite, or she was definitely one of your favorites.
I always appreciate a good anti-hero in a show.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, Tucker's my favorite. But Valerie, she's not really painted as either a friend, a villain, or a hero. She's after Danny for her own purposes, and then they have sort of a love thing.
Yeah.
Question mark?
Yeah, she's a hero at points, she's a villain at points, she's a love interest at points. And then sometimes she's all three wrapped into one. But Valerie is definitely all three of the things I just mentioned. And she actually pulls all of them off rather well. Like when she's a hero at the right times. When she's a villain, she's a very threatening villain to Danny. And when she's she's not a love interest often, but when she is, it sort of makes an impact on the show. You know what I mean?
Honestly, it makes more sense than Danny and Sam at times.
At times, yeah, just because they don't bring up those two enough.
Yeah, then again, in my opinion, usually these types of shows, you keep the love interest to a minimum.
Yeah, just because when you're a kid, you don't care about romance.
Oh yeah, the girl kissed the dude. Oh wow, look away. That's disgusting.
I'm gonna go throw up.
I have cooties. My eyeballs have cooties now. Thanks a lot, show.
Yes.
But they didn't do Valerie justice, though.
No.
This goes back to what we said earlier, how season 3 was garbage, and how I said that the last episode was pretty trash as well.
Mm-hmm.
They literally threw her in the trash.
Yes, we'll go in depth about that again later, but I keep bringing this up because I want to say so much more about these characters, but I feel like we've said everything there is to say about them.
They're quite tropey.
Yeah, again, they're all good characters. There's just not a whole lot to say about them.
Yeah, and whenever you bring in the ghost, you especially get tropey with it.
Yes. There are quite a few villains in this show. In fact, I'll just name off 3 of them. There's Skulker, Amber, and the Box Ghost.
Alright, the Box Ghost. Come on. Everybody knows the Box Ghost. I am the Box Ghost!
He's the comedic relief.
He's the Box Ghost. That's all you need to know.
Skulker, he's a hunter. Amber, she's a rock and roll ghost.
There's not much else to their character, and they usually only show up for a few episodes. Except for Skulker, he actually shows up almost as much as Vlad.
Yeah, which is kind of hilarious. But there's not much to them. What I said right there, Peyton, I want to know your thoughts on this, but the way I described all 3 of those ghosts, that's their character.
There's not really much else to add to them.
I mean, none of them have an entirely interesting backstory. The only 2 that have a good backstory are Poindexter and Vlad, but other than that, there's not a whole lot to them, sadly.
Did you know the lunch lady from the first episode? Turns out that she actually had a heart attack and died, and she's still serving food to kids.
Did it mention that in the episode?
It didn't mention that. That's in the lore of the show, though.
Where did you look that up?
I found some dark things on Reddit.
Oh gosh. Let's just move on before we go even darker than that. To the seasons of the show.
Alright, season 1. It all starts out with, you got Danny, he's been indoors for a month, he's learning to control his powers. Slowly, as it progresses, he fights ghost after ghost after ghost. And he defeats them all in sort of a similar fashion. And he continues getting better with his powers. Season 1, you don't really... Vlad shows off what his powers can do, such as multiplication and sort of ghost shields. He doesn't really do that. He mainly just says, I have laser hands. And I can punch things. And I can fly. And go invisible. But his powers, they don't develop as much as they do in season 2. But he does get better as the show slowly progresses on. And when he reaches the end, it's sort of an episode type of series anyway. So it just shows a little bit and of him getting a little better each time. And at the end of the series, it's the end of the series. There's not really much else to it. You wait for season 2 to come out.
Yeah, I think season 1 is a good, solid, laying the foundation season. Like, it sets up a lot of stuff that's yet to come. It sets up Danny and his villains. It sets up Danny learning his powers. It sets up Vlad. It sets up a lot of things. And I think you're right. I think you would agree with me on this one, but compared to season 2 and heck, even season 3, season 1 is basic, but that's not a bad thing at all. It's just, again, laying the foundation.
I mean, basic can be very entertaining and very story-based.
Yeah. Season 2 is where things get interesting because they start having more complex stories, more complex characters. You get a lot darker episodes, such as the episode where Danny goes to the future and meets his dark future self. That's probably the darkest episode in the whole series. But it's still a really good episode because I feel like it explores Danny as a character a lot more than most of the episodes.
And what his future would be if he continued down the path that he's going. He would essentially turn into an even worse version of Vlad.
Yeah. Again, season 2, I think, even sets up more for these characters, and it almost promises a very exciting future. And you want to know something, Peyton?
What?
We didn't get an exciting future. We got season 3.
And what happened in season 3, Sam?
Oh gosh, do you want me to talk about it?
Yeah, I guess we better.
Okay, so season 3, season 3 is not the worst thing ever made, but compared to the first 2 seasons, it's very bad.
How so?
There's only one good episode, and that's the episode, or again, in my opinion at least, there's only one good episode, and that's the episode where Danny takes on like a ghost who's basically a jungle, and he gains his ice powers.
And that is, this is the last time I'll say this. Sam tries to kill him. Because the vine ghost turns Sam into some weird vine monster. And that's when he unlocks his ice powers, and that the ice powers are rarely used.
Yes. And remember how me and Peyton kept saying, I don't know if Peyton said this, but I said that they laid the foundation and set up a lot of great stories? There's none of that in season 3.
They didn't build on it.
No, those ice powers that Peyton mentioned barely get used after that one episode.
And that's really it. I mean, he has ice breath and he has ice hands now. Never sees him hardly again.
Nope. And all these problems are basic. Again, this probably wouldn't be as bad if the season finale and the series finale was any good. Phantom Planet.
Yeah, the big asteroid in the sky.
The basic plot of the finale is that an asteroid is coming to Earth and it's going to pretty much destroy the whole planet.
And then Vlad, he has this idea to blow up the asteroid, but turns out he can't. Danny comes up with an idea to turn the entire planet invisible, and it works. And he, for some reason, reveals his identity, which he should not have done. In my opinion.
We didn't even mention the part about Vlad, like, oh, I'm gonna make Danny feel useless, so he'll give up his powers, and so no one will be able to stop me. And it's a good plot, but I think it really shows Danny just being an idiot more than anything else.
Why would you give up your powers?
No.
That makes no sense.
Exactly. And Valerie, Peyton already mentioned this, but literally, Vlad, I don't know if I mentioned this already, but Vlad hires a team of ghost hunters to basically take care of the ghosts, so Danny feels useless. And the ghost hunters pretty much put Valerie in a dump truck.
They literally put her in a dump truck. That's
right.
not figurative. And you never see her again.
Nope. A great character.
Gone.
Wasted.
It's kind of sad when you think about it.
Yeah.
It's gone.
I feel like if you took away Danny getting rid of his powers, I feel like this would be a much better finale, if I'm being honest.
I don't really understand that either. Why why would anyone give up their powers? All right, even a 14-year-old who's young and naive.
Again, he could just be like, okay, I'm not going to get rid of my powers. I'm just going to not use them anymore.
I mean, that's a big why. I guess they needed something to work, something to Danny to get back, something to work towards.
I guess.
But the reason he got his powers back was so stupid.
Oh, I forgot about that. Basically, all of Danny's enemies surround him in the ghost zone while he's human, and they blast him with their ghost lasers, and somehow that changes his DNA back to ghost DNA.
Which, how did he use the dream catcher to get rid of his ghost powers? I forget how he got rid of his ghost.
He recreated the event that gave him his powers.
That's not how the Force works.
I don't know.
Wait, am I? Oh no.
Again, it's not the worst thing ever, but compared to what came before, season 3 is just a massive disappointment, and the finale is the cherry on top of the disappointing sundae.
Yeah. Essentially, season 3, it maybe shouldn't have happened.
I honestly, I think season 3 killed the show.
It's what made it work. The animation, we said this before, but it was different. I could have sworn it was different.
Yes. And honestly, I think it's because of season 3 that I really don't want to see a season 4.
Yeah, but we'll get to that whenever we say the future potential.
Which is now.
Oh wait, it is?
I'll let you get your thoughts on a possible future out of the way first, because I do have some things I definitely want to say about it.
Okay. So, possible future... I wish there'd be a season 4. They just say, hey, season 3, we're gonna skip that. Well, I actually take that back. No, I don't wish there was a season 4. I wish there was a thing of Danny in the future. Sort of shows him maybe in high school, maybe in college, and he has similar problems. Because you can make different ghost characters, if need be. That's not really that hard, and then you can do occasional sort of flashback, or not really a flashback, but bring back other ghosts. So if there was to be more Danny Phantom, it would not be in the form of a season 4, but rather I think it would be in the form of another series. But considering Nickelodeon fired the guy who made it, I don't think that's gonna happen.
Quick correction, they did not fire him, he left.
My bad.
I have a very different idea of season 4.
Alright, shoot. Let's hear it.
I think they should never do another season of Danny Phantom.
Really?
I know that's going to make a lot of people in the Danny Phantom community angry. I'm sorry. Please hear me out. But season 3 is such a disappointment. And to be frank, I don't know if Butch Hartman will ever watch this video. But I don't know if he has it in him to do the stories that people want to see for a 4th season of Danny Phantom.
I don't know what to say to that.
I know he's done a lot of videos on his YouTube channel of like what he would do for a season 4, like, you know, those 10 years later videos. Mm-hmm. He actually did a video talking about Danny in the college years.
But you wonder if he could actually do that?
Or do it justice in a way.
Mm-hmm.
Just because, again, going back to his previous show, which was Fairly Odd Parents, that show diminished in quality super quickly. Like after Wishology. And I almost wonder if it's better to leave Danny Phantom as a relic of its time, rather than bring it back and it just be worse, or like worse than we remember.
Yeah, that's the thing about whenever they do reboots of the shows. Mm-hmm. Look at Teen Titans Go, for example. Some people you may like Teen Titans Go, but I I just think it's so much worse than the original.
It's
So
a
whenever you
big-
take kid shows and you try to redo them, it's not the same.
No.
Or whenever you try to drag out a series too long, there's a point where you gotta say, it's done, it's over, it's time.
Yeah.
Put it down.
I mean, if he did a season 4, I'd watch it. I'd
Yeah, I'd
watch
watch
it.
it.
But I just hopefully I probably wouldn't get my hopes up all that much.
If he did, it would probably come out on Netflix because Nickelodeon's partnered with Netflix.
Sort, maybe, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm at. Just because of how things are today, streaming services are sort of the
Mhm.
thing.
It would probably be a streaming exclusive.
But I still doubt it's going to happen. As I say, I think if anything comes out of Danny Phantom, it'll be in the form of it'll be in the form of a future Danny.
That, or he'll just continue being cameo in like different Nickelodeon properties, like the video games where they cross over.
There wasn't actually too many Danny Phantom video games. Come to
No.
think of it,
There were only 2 for the Game Boy Advance.
that's actually the thing I wrote to Sandy for. Can I get a Danny Phantom video game? I did not know it was only for Game Boy though.
Yeah,
At the time, obviously.
yeah. I think it's a good segue to fun facts
All right.
that we have for the show.
Give us a fun fact, Sam. Tell us about the ways of the Force.
All right. Peyton, did you know that the theme song that we got was not the original theme song?
What was it, Sam?
It was a different song. It was more, well, I don't know how to say it. There was no rap in the original song.
It was just sort of playing music.
Again, I don't know how to describe it. I'm not very good with musical terms, but it was a very different song to the one we got.
Imagine a country song of Danny Phantom.
Oh, that'd be, That, I don't know who released it, but like the storyboard of the song got released online and then someone animated the storyboard.
Really?
Yeah, and they uploaded it to YouTube. In fact, link in the description below to the video.
All right. I'll be sure to put it in there. And here's another fun fact, Sam. Did you know that the show was originally not supposed to be called Danny Phantom, but it was supposed to be called The Spectre Detectors?
Sounds like a bad Ghostbusters ripoff.
Probably would have been what the show was if it had that name.
Yeah, I think Butch Hartman said in one of his videos where he mentioned that it was supposed to be like Ghostbusters. Final thoughts on Danny Phantom. I'll get mine out of the way first. Overall, while it's not as good as I remember it being as a kid, I do think it's still worth a watch nowadays. Who knows, you might be a bigger fan than me or Peyton. And again, while I don't really want a season 4, I am glad that the show was made, and I do think it will always be a very fun relic of my childhood.
I agree with that. I do think that Danny Phantom, it was a good show. It's not something I would rewatch often. I sometimes rewatch old shows that I haven't seen in a long time. I probably only watch this every couple years or so. But I think it's a good watch. It's worth going out there to see or buying on DVD or whatever you want to do. And it's fun. It brings back a lot of memories.
I think that's the perfect way to end this. It brings back a lot of nice memories.
I want to see the green guy fight the other green guy again.
Yep. And that is our review of Danny Phantom. Let us know what your thoughts on it are down in the comments below.
And we'll leave the links in the description to the theme song that Sam mentioned.
The original theme song, that's right. Make sure you subscribe to both my channel, Cookn Reviews,
and my channel at Joe Matrix. We'll have a link to each other's channel in the description of the video for this one.
that's right. And at the end, there will be a little card at the end of the video.
Oh, card.
I don't know what they're called. They're called the little things you click on at the end of the video that have our channel logo on it.
Oh, you mean the thing that'll be right down here somewhere? And
Or right here whenever our things disappear.
oh, so
You guys know what we're talking about.
the big circle that'll be right here, and then over there there'll be a little card that says, "Oh yeah, watch this video too. You might like it."
Might not. Who knows? Who cares?
Who can say?
Yeah.
All right, Sam. Do we have anything else to say, or should we show them what we're doing next?
No, there is no sneak peek this week. We're gonna keep it a secret.
All right, then keep your secrets.
That's good. Because I have a lot of secrets.
Oh, do you?
Yes. Again, thank you all for watching this video. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe.
We'll
Let us know
see
what you
you-
liked about the show. Our show, as well as what you liked about Danny Phantom. Would you like to see a Danny Phantom Season 4? Let us know. Again, thank you all for watching this video. And Peyton, do you have any final thoughts before we sign off?
I would like to say that I am the pirate king of the ghost ship who wants to take down Danny Phantom. I have a plan.
And I will say, I am the Brax Ghost. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you all next time.
Thank you
Later,
guys for
everyone.
watching, and goodbye.
Later, everyone.